we'd ended on such a high note, like we'd done Josh, I think, or God is a Freak, everyone's going off, and the confetti, whatever, and I come back out to do a skate. Confetti's still like landing.
Hello! How are you? Thank you so much for coming on Airing Your Dirty Laundry.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's exciting. And Marbles, yeah, I think we've got to acknowledge that Marbles is in the room with us today.
It's his big break. It's his first.
Is it his first interview, really?
Yeah.
Oh, how are you feeling?
He's a little nervous, I think.
I was just wondering, when you came in today, I just wanted to start out by like saying you look amazing.
Thank you.
Do you, when you put your clothes on to start like an interview or to go on stage, do you find that it's like becoming part of the Peach character, and like does it make you feel more comfortable in like an outfit as opposed to like if you were to just sit with me in like perhaps day-to-day clothes? Is there like a difference between the two?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, sometimes, because I feel like I dress like this, like even outside of stuff, like I would wear this just like out to do things, but so I guess it does make me feel more comfortable. I mean, I'm never comfortable, actually. I'm in a wig. Like, nothing's comfortable about this outfit. But mentally.
Totally. Yeah, so it's not like you like have like a character persona and then it's like they kind of cross over and blend between the two.
Sometimes, yeah. I wish it wasn't like that. Like, I wish I had more of a separation between the two. And I think I'm working on it. But
yeah.
I think because I've gotten here by making the two so enmeshed together that now it's hard to like...
Yeah, to find the difference. Because I was going to ask, like, you've spoken a lot online about stage fright and sort of performance, maybe anxiety, maybe a better way to put it. How do you draw the drive to make yourself kind of be better at performing and to continue doing it?
It's been really hard. It's one thing that like even now I'm still working on because I don't think I'm a natural like performer. Like I love to write music, I love to sing it. I'm very like emotionally expressive, but I'm just like, it doesn't come naturally to me to be this big presence and really super charismatic on stage. And I want to be that because I love watching that and I think it really makes a show. But I've had to really practice it. And I think people don't realize like how long it takes to like, that's a whole new skill to learn. It's like I learned how to sing when I was young. I learned how to write when I was young. But like to get on stage and like put on a show and perform is a whole different skill. So I've just had to like embarrass myself like 50 times before I'm like, okay, now I've kind of got the hang of it.
Yeah, because I went to see a band last night and I was watching him perform and he was so like the stage presence and I was like...
Some people it's so natural, like it's so easy.
But I was thinking to myself though, like, it must have taken him a long time to be able to just... Because he was so free. I went and saw, it was Glass Animals that I saw and he was so free on stage. And like, it was like no one was in the room watching. But then I was like, it must take a lot of performing and a lot of time on the stage to be able to get to that point.
Yeah,
like,
I feel like it does because that's what I was told. They said like, I think it was like something like 90 shows until you're like confident in it and like can do it. And I guess some people start out like busking or like singing in pubs and stuff like that before they get signed and before they have their big break. But for me, it was like I got signed during COVID and lockdown through the internet. So I didn't really have any live experience. And by the time everything opened up and I did have live experience or had the opportunity to be live, I'd never done it before and I was like on TV and I was like in front of a crowd at the Tik Tok Awards and I was like, I've literally never even like held a microphone.
Was that your first time performing at the Tik Tok Awards?
Yeah, my first time with a live performance. I did like a small little pop-up thing at this place that had a maximum of 50 people.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
And I didn't even know like that I had to turn my pack on and like I walked out, I couldn't hear anything, and then I was like, oh my God, like there's no sound.
That's scary, man. I don't know if I have that. But then I feel like it's a massive credit to you that you actually are pushing yourself and like continuing because that's like, I don't know, it's terrifying for even me just sitting in front of two cameras, let alone like a whole audience, and then performing like your work and your art that you spent so much time on. So I think that there's a big credit to you for that.
Thank you.
I am curious though, like, because obviously a lot of people know you from TikTok. So I'm going to assume, even though that like makes an ass out of me, but I'm going to assume that you probably would feel more comfortable at home on TikTok than in front of a live audience.
Yeah, sure.
Even though that video could potentially go out to like millions of people, like why do you think being at home in front of the camera is so much easier, even though technically it's seen by like a lot more people?
Yeah, I don't know. I think about that too. I think because I guess I'm not seeing them like in front of me. I think like I can't even conceptualize like millions of people. I don't even really know what that looks like and I can't imagine a million faces because I don't think we were ever supposed to. So for me, I'm just like, oh, that's like, those are just like little numbers, like the views and stuff, but I don't have to like see a face. I mean, the comments are like a way that I can like conceptualize, okay, there's like real people that see this, but But yeah, like on stage, it's like, oh my God, like I'm seeing their live reaction to what I'm doing. I guess if I like make a shit joke on TikTok and somebody doesn't laugh, I don't have to see them be like, that wasn't funny, and scroll.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
But on stage, if I like do something weird and I see people be like, oh, then I'm like, oh my God.
Does that happen? Like you see?
I mean, not that I see anyway, it's pretty bright, but that's like, I don't know, I guess I have this irrational fear that it will.
Yeah, but I feel like people come and watch your show because they love you. Like I feel like maybe, I don't know.
Come over.
Hi, honey. I feel like people, like, you know, they come and watch your show and they love you, and like when I watch live music, you're always, you know, if your favorite artist forgets a lyric or forgets a line or something, you sort of forgive them because it also shows like the human behind them as well, and that they're just like me, like I fuck up, everybody fucks up, you know?
Yeah, I do think that's something that people, I think, enjoy about live stuff, which I think was something that I had to learn as well. Like for a long time, I was like, it has to be perfect, and if I mess up a note or if I forget the words, like I would get so upset and embarrassed, and then I would hear feedback from people where they're like, I love when that happens, and I love when I see this like not super polished performance, and I feel like I'm seeing the real person.
Totally.
And I'm like, oh, that's a good point, and now I don't feel so.
I think so. Like, no hate to Taylor Swift. This is not
Oh, careful.
Yeah, I know. But like, I went and watched her show, and like, it was incredible, of course, like 10 out of 10. But I was like, it's so like, she's an athlete. Like, it's so polished. And I thought like the one thing, if I had to give her criticism, sorry, but if I had to give her criticism, it would be like, just, I don't know, that I felt like there was that tiny bit of lack of like,
human,
just, like that authentic rawness of the like, we're the only ones that absolutely get to see this. Like this has never been seen.
Yeah, I can understand that. I feel like I felt like that too, but I guess it was kind of like you're there to see that super polished performance. It might be a different artist. I don't know, because I felt the kind of like the same way where I was like, she didn't mess up once ever, like not once. And I don't think she has the entire tour, like not a single note out, or like not a single slip up or forgets. I don't know if she doesn't forget the words. There's so many songs and so many words.
Honestly,
I have a teleprompter on stage.
Yeah,
so like,
that's interesting. I was talking to somebody the other day about teleprompters because I didn't know it was a thing.
I didn't either until recently. I was like, why have we not been doing this? Like, I forget the words so much. And like,
guys, thanks so much for telling me. Like, how much longer down the line?
And they asked me like, do you want a teleprompter? I was like, that's an option. Why did you not ask me that sooner? But like, it's not because I don't like know the words to my songs. Obviously I wrote them and I've sang them so many times, but you're thinking about so many things and it's like, sometimes someone will hold a sign up and I'll be like, oh my God, and I'll get caught off guard, and then the whole song's gone from my brain and I'm like, wait, what was I singing? And the track keeps going, so like by the time you remember it, it's onto the chorus now and you're like,
no,
it's so stressful.
What do you think, like, then the difference between, because you worked like in, like, how would you say, like in the club, stripping, like, is that the right way to say it? Okay. Performing in the club then versus performing music live, like, did you get performance anxiety around stripping at all?
No, it's just so crazy because I'd be up there like fully nude in front of strangers, like, and I'd be improvising too. Like, there was nothing like the dance that I did on stage and the pole dancing, none of that was rehearsed. It's just like, you just get up there and wing it. And like, so I'm like naked and improv dancing, which is so crazy to think like I could never do that now, but that didn't really make me that nervous. I guess I was pretty drunk all the time, so maybe that was why, but but I guess singing feels a lot more like vulnerable than being naked to me. Like, I feel like my skin is my skin, it's whatever, but my like thoughts and my words and my feelings are so like something people don't really see until I verbalize it. So
totally, like you've written down like the innermost like parts of yourself and you're putting that on display, which is way more a vulnerable space to be. Yeah, I get that.
And even if it's like a silly song that's like not that serious and I'm just having fun, even that feels vulnerable because it's like I'm taking a chance on like trying to be silly and carefree, and if people are like, oh, that's like cringe, then it's like, oh my God, that's so scary to feel. So that's, I don't know, scarier to me than stripping.
You incorporated in your most recent tour a pole on stage. When you were on stage then with the pole, did that bring a sense of comfortability to you as well? Like, was that kind of like, feel like you were kind of coming back to your roots and coming home a little bit?
Yeah, it does a little bit. And that's, again, something that I just improv, like, depending on the night. Like, I'll just get up there and just, I only have, like, I think 2 minutes that I'm on the actual pole. So I just kind of, like, do a couple of moves and then I'm like, and it's a nice little break where I'm not having to, like, sing and perform that way. So
how do you tour with it? Does the pole go on the flights and everything?
Yeah, it's super heavy. It weighs like, what is it, like 100 kilos or something crazy? Like it's portable and I have to pull the pieces and put them together every show.
Is that is it like a special one for a stage or is it kind of like the standard one?
Yeah, I think it's like this, it's the same sort of pole that anyone can use depending on where they are. It's just a portable one, so they can like pull it apart. And I think people would use it for like like athleticism, like all athletes. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I saw that TikTok that you post when you were rehearsing on it, and I was just like, I feel like I'm blown away every single time I watch pole dancing because I'm like, the strength.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's when I got back into it for tour, I was like, oh my God, I forgot how hard this was. And then I was like, how was I doing this at
Really?
like 19 and like every night, and I had no like strength, and I was like, what the hell? How was I doing this? Like,
that's
it's so hard.
wild. Yeah, I know. I've only ever done it a few times, and like I'm the most uncoordinated person.
Me too, actually. But
Really?
The pole helps because it spins for you, so it makes it look more graceful than it actually is.
Yeah, I still don't know. I feel like I look like a sack of potatoes. Like,
No, you can just pose and then stay still and it'll just spin for
and then
you.
you look good because you're a woman, and women just look good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly it.
Also wanted to ask like about the evolution of Peach, because I mean, having followed you for such a long time, you know, at the start you were just finding your feet and kind of performing, and then we've now transitioned to this like pixie dream fairy era, if that's the right way to put it. Do you reckon there's going to be a continuous evolution, and like not necessarily what comes next, but do you see the where do you see the evolution of Peach going, I guess?
Yeah, I think about that too. And I don't know, I don't have anything, like I've always loved like dressing up and just being in this sort of like fantasy realm, and I think like having like TikTok or having like an audience of people like have given me that freedom to explore that and be like, oh okay, like I can just live out my little girl dreams, and I can just dress up like a fairy and like, you know, do all the things that I love, and yeah, I feel like I'm always evolving as a person, so I'm sure it will change, but I think that the element of just, I don't know, the whimsy, it'll still be there. But
where did you get draw like a lot of the inspiration from it? Was it just like out of your own head, or was it like?
I guess so. I take a lot of inspiration from Shirley Barber, like the author that did all those kids' books, and I love her work and love, like I grew up reading those books and I was so fascinated by the drawings, and I just love, I don't know, something just so beautiful about it. I love like the fantasy, sparkly fairy world. So
yeah, you also read a lot of fantasy books, don't you?
Yeah.
I know. I saw you talking about Akatar, and then you're like, made me laugh. It made me laugh because I read all 5, but when I was on the 3rd one, when you were like, boring, I hate it, I was like, I felt the exact same way.
Yeah, I don't think I've read the last 2 actually, because I got so bored of the 3rd one.
Yeah, I know. Everybody in the comments was like, you got to push through, and I'm like, for what? Like,
I really did. I wanted to. I think because I was going to give it away, but I won't. But yeah, I think because there was something that people thought I was going to be excited to read in the 3rd one, but I found out the info and I was like, boring still.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I will say the 5th one is like amazing.
Really?
Yeah, it is. Really
I think
good.
when they fall in love, I get bored. Like I love like hearing about the romance and like, you know, the slow burn. But then when they get together, I'm like, okay, that's enough. Like,
I don't want to hear about stable relationships.
I don't want you guys like to actually date now. It's so boring.
So just back to the stripping, I was just wondering, could you walk me through like a night of like what it looked like back then, like what your life looked like?
Yeah. So I would get to work and we pay like a house fee. So you have to pay a fee to work at the club because I guess you're a contractor. I would pay like $50 if I worked at 7 p.m. and you pay more depending on how late you start.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and then once you are inside the club, like you don't leave until they close, depending on whenever they're there. It's usually like 5, and sometimes they would stay open later. And yeah, I go in and then you get changed and you see the girls in the change room, and it was really lovely. I actually loved the Sisterhood of the strippers there.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like men would often come in and be like, oh, you're prettier than her, or like, what do you think about her and this stuff, and thought that we had this sort of like,
you against each other.
yeah, I think they had this idea that we were all kind of like in competition and catty, but like we were all really supportive of each other, and like everyone had their own sort of niche and their way of hustling, and we'd all help each other out. So I loved that. And then I'd get dressed and then come out and have to hustle people, which was crazy to think about, that I was just going up to strangers and talking to them, because like I couldn't do that now. But yeah.
Why do you think you couldn't do that now?
I don't know. There was just something like, I feel I've gotten a lot more like, I don't know, socially anxious as I think lockdown definitely did a number on me, like being isolated like that and not having a lot of face-to-face interaction. And then when I came out, it was not the same face-to-face interactions anymore, because like people had known me from online, and it wasn't the same as like just chatting with strangers. It was like, oh my God, Peach. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know you. And like, but yeah, so then the strip club was like, I don't know, easy for me for some reason. But
isn't that so telling though, when like a man is like assumes that women like they don't like the assumption of female relationships of what like a man will think compared to like what actual sisterhood is, and like it's like sometimes I feel sorry for men because I'm like, you'll never get to enter what is like the most, in my opinion, like beautiful relationship that can possibly exist.
Yeah, I think that it's something that was really special and really got me through that, because I think a lot of the women there they had all experienced the same hardships, and we're all in the same job doing the same thing. We've all come from similar places. So, yeah, that was really nice.
So writing music, you have been on like X Factor, The Voice, Australia's Got Talent.
Yeah.
And then you won a songwriting competition like when you were in high school, right?
Yeah. This is so crazy that you know that.
I was just wondering, like, do you ever go back and listen to the song or like look back on that time of your life and like what feelings come up for you when you think about that?
I don't know. Sometimes I have a couple of times, but like I try not to sometimes because like I'll spiral like thinking about this stuff that I've done in the past. I'm like, what the hell was I doing? But like, I think that was sweet. Like the One Day song, like it's kind of, I don't know, funny to me, but in like an endearing way where I listen to it, I'm like, that's like, I was so sure. I was like, I'm going to make it big one day. Like I literally say that in the song. I'm like, I'm going to make it big one day and you're all going to be really mad that you believe me because I'm going to kill it.
Which kind of is true though. Like that's manifesting.
I mean, yeah, I was so sure. But yeah, I do look back on stuff like that and I do find it really, I don't know, full circle, I guess. Like I think about auditioning for those shows and like how devastated I was when I got told no in the car rides home. We're like so sad, and like because we'd line up like all day like for X Factor and Got Talent and stuff like that, and I'd be there with my parents or one of them, and we'd be there from like morning until really late, and then I'd go in, I'd sing like 2 words and they're like, okay, that's enough.
Really,
and
that's
like,
it?
Yeah, because like I would get so nervous, like I was saying to you before, like I get really nervous and I would shake really bad, so then my voice would shake and my throat would get really tense and I'd be pitchy, and then I'd be like, ugh. And then they would often be like, oh, come back when you've like had a bit more practice and a bit more confidence and maybe get some lessons, and I was like, okay.
And also like waiting all day, like the longer you wait for something, the more
build up it is.
100%. Like I totally get that. I feel like the worst part about this is like waiting for like people to arrive.
For sure, yeah.
And like, I don't know, just kind of seeing people like get out of a car and I'm like, oh God,
yeah.
like what have why? And I have done this to myself. Like I've got no one to blame but myself.
I think that's what makes it so nerve-wracking. It's like, I've put this on, so like, it's like I'm responsible for it, and it feels like, oh my God, that's so much like pressure. Yeah,
I get that. If I came up, I'm all of a sudden now back in the whatever year it was when that was happening, and I'm there, and I said to you, in 5 years, 10 years time, like you're going to be touring in LA and you're going to be playing out sold out shows in Australia and things like that. Would you have believed it? Do you reckon?
I feel like maybe I would have. I think because it sounds like I was pretty sure. Like I can't really remember a whole lot about how I felt about things, but I was when I was younger, I had so much belief in myself and I was so sure and so determined. And then I got knocked down a few times and was like, oh, okay, maybe this is harder than I thought. And then like my parents weren't super like, yeah, go for it. They were like, well, maybe let's be a bit more realistic and like, let's, try something else. Like maybe singing could be a hobby. And like, I was like, wait, what? Like,
oh, that's, that is hard, especially coming from the people who like, I mean, I don't know, like generally people who are like, you can do anything.
You're going to be the president. Like,
yes.
My parents were like, you're going to be like, I don't know, working in office or something. You work in finance. Admin. Yeah, I was like devastated. And then I think after a while, I think in my like mid-teens, I was like, oh wow, like maybe I should just not bother. Because my mum said to me, she was like, it is such a hard industry to get into. Like she knows, but she did work in admin and was like, it's such a hard industry. It's like 1 in a million chance. And like, you're going to get knocked down and so many no's. So like maybe have some more realistic goals. And like, I get where she was coming from, but it absolutely crushed me to hear. And like, I remember like where I was, what I was doing, like at the time when she said that to me, and I just felt like my whole world crumbled. I was devastated.
Because you take your parents' word as like, it's like Bible. Like it's like everything they know and believe is in the world to be true is all you know. You know? So that's hard.
And I felt sad for her because I think she obviously had a lot of fear of trying new things and fear of like falling back or like rejection or something like that. So I think she was just being like, oh my God, don't try something new or you might get hurt.
She doesn't want to see you get hurt at the same time.
So that like, I stopped. I didn't want to sing for ages after that. And then I just was like, okay, well, I guess I've got to like find another career. I went into like makeup artistry. I did a course for that. And I thought about maybe being like a primary school teacher, or I thought about so many different random jobs, but nothing felt like, yes, this is the career I want and so fulfilling. And I was like, maybe everybody just feels like that. Like maybe everyone's like, I just have to make money.
Kind of, but I feel like sometimes you just get lucky. And
exactly.
It's the privilege. Like I always feel so privileged that I can do this,
Yeah.
It's not, and I don't take it lightly. It's like,
definitely. I think I'm extremely lucky that because I think so many people have dreams and huge ambitions, but we also do just have to work jobs and make money. So I think, I got really lucky that that's both for me, like something that I love to do and it is my job, but yeah, I definitely gave up on it for a while because I was like, well, it's just not realistic and it's never going to happen.
Yeah. So when you come back to it then, and then you play the guitar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you come back and you like pick up your guitar again for like the first time, like what do you think drew you back to the guitar?
It was actually learning guitar for the first time because I hadn't played before. I did sing and songwrite, but I didn't play any instruments. And then I stopped singing for like years. I also lost my voice stripping because I was yelling over the club music every night, and you have to like talk to customers, so I'd be yelling and straining my voice. And I really damaged it and I couldn't sing anymore. And then I stopped stripping for a while and I was like really depressed. Like a lot of stuff had happened in my life and I was in like a really dark place. And then I was just at like rock bottom and I was like, I cannot live anymore like this. I'm so miserable. So I was like, I need something to live for. Like I need something to keep going for. And so I wrote a song that and I hadn't written music in years. And I wrote a song. And then I was like, I want to teach myself guitar. Like I want to learn to play an instrument. So I started learning guitar. And then I put this little song up on Instagram. I think I had like, I don't know, I only had a couple hundred followers, just like family and friends and stuff on Instagram. And I put this song up and I got maybe like 20 comments, which was for me like a lot. And everyone was like, oh my God, this is really good. Like, I didn't know you wrote music. I didn't know you sang. And I was like, wait, really? Like, oh my God, people like this. And it just gave me so much joy and so much fulfillment that I was like, okay, this is the feeling I was looking for. It was like some sort of fulfillment and joy from something. And then I just got so addicted to that. I was like, I need to like keep this so I can stay alive. Like I need to keep doing something. So just became like a fixation and obsession.
Isn't that amazing that like music, I mean, in a way, like literally can save you like that, you know? And then for your music to then resonate with other people and do the same for them. Like what a full like circle.
Yeah, that was something that I didn't expect with that. It's like it was so, I guess, self-indulgent. Like the music I was making was like I was sad and I needed to vent and I needed to get it out and feel it. But then in doing that, other people were like, this was really healing for me. And I was like, oh wow, really? Like, and then hearing them say that was healing for me as well, because I was like, okay, I'm not alone either. Like,
isn't that amazing? It's like those like animals in the wild that like have to like eat off each other to survive. Like, like
a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
That's so
exactly
true.
Like that.
100%, yeah.
One of my questions later on, I'm going to ask it now, is like, so for myself, like I have stopped drinking a lot this year. Like I had a I had a bad relationship with like alcohol, because once I started, I would turn to other things as well. And I found that I needed a vice to kind of have fun and I don't know, I didn't have a great relationship.
Yeah.
And so then seeing you talk about things online so openly, kind of, I was like, oh my gosh, I should talk to people online about kind of maybe what I've gone through and stuff. But I saw, and so then I wanted to give you like, I don't know, just like a bit of credit for that, because I thought like how amazing it is for myself to see, but for everybody else to see that you're not going through it alone, and that like, there's other people out there that are just struggling and haven't, you know, got it all figured out and whatever. Yeah. But then I saw your video about like your creative process. You are like, oh, I'm not like going out and doing all these things anymore. I just want to come home and read a book or whatever. Yeah. Not being able to reach that sort of part. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But
no, I think I get you. It's it was because I was feeling a bit like, oh my God, I used to be so much cooler and so much more fun and like all of these crazy things. But I'm like, I don't think I really was. I think I was actually just completely a mess and out of it. And like, and I think as well, like that's something in recovery people don't really, I guess, and it's for a good reason that people don't talk about it, but there is a side where I think a lot of former addicts feel that way, where they're like, there is a part of you that does miss it and the fun parts of it and like going crazy, but obviously you don't want to feel that way.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah. So like people don't want to focus on that. They want to focus on like the good parts of now, but yeah, I'm like, well, I do kind of miss it.
No, it's true.
And I think that's normal. Like,
it is normal, and it is true, because you're like, okay, well, there's this new version of myself that I'm not like completely used to, because I'm so comfortable in like the chaos. Yeah. So then now I'm, you know, kind of getting my shit together, and it's like, this is me. I'm still the same person, but I feel so different.
Yeah, and it's uncomfortable to sit in, because you're like, I'm not familiar with this person. Like before, it was like you're so in a cloud of like, you know, being high or drunk, and then when you're sober, it's like, oh my God, I actually don't have a personality without it.
Like, totally.
You have to like build one again.
Totally. And then as well, like if you're more introverted, I would feel like that would also be harder to do as well.
Yeah, I used to be really extroverted, and that was like I guess that's what I always identified with, and now I'm having to be like, okay, maybe I'm not an extroverted person anymore, and maybe that's something I just have to be okay with.
Are you comfortable being like introverted?
I always hated it. Like I was like, no, I'm not, because I always like attributed introversion to being like shy and awkward, and I was like, no, that's not me. I'm like so like loud and confident and fun, and then but I don't think I am anymore. So now I'm like, okay, maybe I am introverted, and maybe that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad thing at all. I don't think. I think so many people. I don't know. sometimes I wish I was more introverted.
Yeah,
But-
honestly, that's fair. Sometimes though, I would wish that I would shut up a
Yeah.
bit. Like, sometimes I'm like, okay, I didn't need to say all that.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
The oversharing. I'm like, why did I just tell that person I've just met that like I
Yeah.
got my period and then I've got to
Yeah.
find tampons somehow? Like,
Yeah, I'm the worst for that.
Yeah.
I've gotten better with it though, now that I'm like a bit more aware. But I mean, my whole career has been built off oversharing.
Yeah, totally, that's true.
Yeah, that's like my whole job.
We've spoken about what compels you to speak openly and online and everything like that. You say sometimes that people can be really mean or like bullying and things like that. Like, what do you think is the best way for you to kind of get your head around that, to just like continue and like block out the noise?
I don't know. I find it hard to continue and block it out because it's like, it's hard when I'm being really vulnerable and well-meaning and I say something and people nowadays on the internet really dig for something to have an issue with and find their own personal, like the bean soup thing on TikTok, where that girl made that bean soup video and someone was like, well, how do I make this without the beans? And it's like, girl, it's not for you then. Obviously the context is not for you. And I think about that a lot when sometimes I'll make a video and people are like, we're not considering like this group of people or this. And I'm like, maybe I'm not.
That's
like
the
if someone's like,
thing.
well, I can't do that because I've got this and that. And I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't apply
It's
to you
not
then.
quite, and I'm not here to like kind of comfort every single person watching
Yeah.
my video. If you don't like it, like sorry,
Yeah.
but I'm also not here to be a terrible person and upset you.
Yeah, and that's what I found really hard because like I do have this sort of like OCD thing where I'm like, oh my god, what if I'm like a terrible person? What if I'm secretly horrible? And like when like I'm not. And I think the reason I think that is because I'm not a terrible person, but I have this intense like fear.
Like
And
terrible
then-
people wouldn't ask themselves if they're terrible people.
and I really get like upset if I'm perceived that way, like by accident, or if someone catches me on a bad day. And like anytime I meet someone, I really try to make it like I really try to connect with them and see them and hear them and talk to them because I don't want anyone to walk away and be like, wow, she was actually kind of rude, and I'm so terrified of just having a bad day and being caught off guard or something.
Yeah.
But I find that online it's really hard. Like I used to be so open and vulnerable and share everything and any thought and any part of my life, but now I can't handle being so heavily critiqued of every single micro movement anymore. I'm like, I'm not telling you guys anything anymore. I can't do this.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The discourse behind the Enrique Iglesias cover, because like I was trying to read it because I was obsessed with Enrique Iglesias. Like I had
me
his
too.
poster on my wall. I would kiss him like goodnight every night. Honestly, I learned he had all his Spanish albums, and I would learn all the lyrics in Spanish and not know what I was saying.
That is so funny.
Honestly, I can remember it was the first concert I ever went to. My mom,
That's so funny.
my mom took me.
Where are you? I was covering it.
Honestly, I know. My mom
so
took me, and then like when he had his mole removed, I was like heartbroken.
That is so funny.
It was
Oh
like-
my God. You know more law than me. I didn't know about them all. That's so funny.
Why do you think like I don't know? Just run me through like what happened there, because I'm still like people didn't know what happened. Like the song.
It's so funny to me. I don't really know what I was thinking either, to be honest. But I just love that song. And
Yeah.
I had gone through a phase on TikTok where I guess I'd rediscovered the song. And like I was never a huge fan of like I didn't know any of his other stuff besides maybe Hero and like his bigger songs. And
so
like
not like me.
yeah,
The whole discography.
you knew about them all. But like I rediscovered the song and was like, oh my God, I remember this in primary school. I loved this song. And I guess I thought it was bigger than it was, I don't know. And then I started putting it on my TikTok all the time and was like every day posting a video to Escape by Enrique. And I thought it was like an inside joke between like me and my fans because they would have been like, oh, she's back at it with Escape again. And I'd be singing it hardcore. And then I was like, wouldn't it be so funny if I did it on tour, like brought it out as like an encore?
And everyone will go wild.
Yeah, well, I thought like, because that's all my fans and we all knew it was like this inside joke.
Yeah.
That was not the case. And I did it as an encore. So like most people would encore would do like their biggest song or like a song of theirs at least. And I came out with Escape by Enrique Iglesias. And the whole crowd was like, girl, what? Like no one knew it. And people were like, because I guess my fans are also pretty young. So they were like, is this like an unreleased song? Like what is this? That's so funny. And then like,
what are you thinking like when you're doing that? And like, could you
I
see
was
people's
laughing.
faces?
Yeah,
Kind of, like,
just like everyone deadpan. And like we'd ended on such a high note, like we'd done Josh, I think, or God is a Freak. Everyone's going off and the confetti, whatever. And I come back out to do Escape. Confetti still like landing. People are like, what? And then I was like, I walked off stage and like cracked up. I was like, that was so funny. And then I was like, okay, maybe we don't do that as the encore anymore. And then from that night onwards, we did it. And I still kept it in the set. I was like, I'm fucking singing Escape by Enrique, whether you guys like it or not.
It might just not be the Big Bang.
Yeah, I mean, it did become an inside joke eventually after
my
I
God.
drilled it into them. I literally, before I would sing the song, be like, all right, everyone get Genius up right now and look up the lyrics because I'm not fucking singing this with all of you looking at me.
Yeah, totally.
You don't know the words.
Oh, that's
And
so
then,
funny.
but then they look it up and it'd be like in Spanish and they're like, what's happening? So stressful.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so good.
And then he went viral after that because like he was like us on tour, but his auto tune was
know.
on something crazy. And then he got so popular and I was like, where was this when I was singing
I
it
know,
on tour? Like,
totally.
now everyone knows Enrique? Okay.
Yeah, now we like Escape, do we? Yeah. Okay.
So bad.
So I've got a bowl of fortune cookies here, and these are just viewer questions, very generic, and just thought.
He's like, yes.
Yes, not a snack.
You just sniff it. He's not going to eat it. Thank you, bud. What's your go-to song before going out on stage at the moment? Enrique, I guess. I don't know. I sing a lot of songs to warm up, and I think lately it's been "We Can't Be Friends" by Ariana Grande.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good song. Very cool. And then one last thing, I got you a Prezi. I actually made a TikTok the other day about how much I hate giving gifts because
me too. I suck at it. I'm a terrible gift giver.
And it's not even that. I just find it really like awkward being like, here.
Yeah, it is such an awkward thing.
Yeah, I got you a little dirty laundry T-shirt.
Oh, cute, and it's pink.
With a little fairy.
Oh my god! Wow.
Yeah.
You did that for me?
Yeah, for you.
Oh
All for you.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Because we're just trying to start. I don't know. Me and my producer were just talking and we were thinking about just fun ways we could do merch. And then I was like, oh my God, I have the best idea.
This is so cute. I love this.
And then I got myself one because I was like, I really like it a lot.
I'm like genuinely going to wear this. I love it.
Yeah.
It's my exact shade of pink too. Is
it?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yay, good.
Thank you so much.
That's okay. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. And having Marbles
as well.
Yeah, sorry he was a bit...
No, that's okay.
He had something to say. Had a song in his heart.
He doesn't really know what's going on. Like, can't blame him.
He never does.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you so much for giving up your time and everything.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Yay.